Hello and welcome to TOTM, short for Tales of the Motherland. This channel's goal is to transport listeners of all ages to Africa through stories designed to activate their imagination. A few things to keep in mind. This is a relaxation exercise and we want your mind to wander effortlessly to the various places we describe. All characters are fictional, but locations are factual. We will never give away the exact country's name in the story itself because our objective is to have you find out through some research where each story takes place. But don't worry, we'll give you plenty of clues. Also, a portion of this channel's proceeds go to a charity we trust in the Republic of Congo. The motherland is very vast and full of exciting adventures, and we want to share them with you, your families, and your friends. So please remember to like the video, to share it, and of course to hit the subscribe button to support our channel. Thank you, and let's begin. The people who pointed fingers. A long time ago in Central Africa, near where the world's second strongest river releases its fresh and treacherous waters into the ocean, dwelled a kingdom where men, women, and children live a quiet and joyful life. The sounds of birds such as the spot-breasted ibis, the francolin, quails, the black guinea fowl, the white flufftail, as well as the buff spotted flufftail and namakwas, lulled little children and adults alike during the warm and restful afternoons. This land was home to many kingdoms and villages, all prosperous and laborious. One of those kingdoms was the Congo Kingdom. Nimi was a 9-year-old girl from this kingdom. She had a happy childhood with her family in her village located north of the kingdom. She shared a beautiful home with her mother, Mama, her father, Tata, and her 2 older brothers, Yayas. Nimi really loved to play. She had a few friends in the kingdom that she liked to hang out with every afternoon after lunch, and they would play Nzango, Lipato, and one of her favorite games, Lioto. Have you guessed in what part of Africa this is yet? Good. Although Nimi's kingdom was a fun place to live and grow, Nimi always wondered what was beyond the high hills on the northern border of the kingdom. Those hills were called the Bateke Plateaus, and they were a big attractive mystery to Nimi. One day, as she was helping her mother cook some fufu for dinner, she casually asked her mom, "Mama, why don't we ever go past the northern border to the Bateke Plateaus?" "Oh, Nimi, we do not go up there because the Batekes do not like us," her mama replied. "Really?" said Nimi, who was shocked that someone would not like them. The Congos were such a delightsome people, she thought. No one in their right mind would refuse to be their friends. "Yes, really," her mother simply replied. Nimi stayed quiet for a little while, but then asked, "Why?" "Why what?" her mother replied as she was pouring some fufu powder in boiling water. "Why don't they like us?" Nimi answered. "I don't know. They just don't. Nobody knows why. It's just the way it is. Now stop asking too many questions. You'll give me a headache. I have to finish making this fufu and I still have to cook the mabokes. You should help me instead of prying." Nimi stopped poking around, but she was even more curious about the people in the Bateke Plateaus. A Across the northern border, in the Bateke Plateaus, lived Ango, an intrepid young boy who loved to play with his friends, go swim in the Lefini River, and went looking for hyraxes and turtles every chance he had. Ango loved to explore and had been just about everywhere in his kingdom. He even went across the Lefini River with his big brother Ngunia before. That's where one found the best and juiciest mangoes. However, Ango and his brother had never been past the southern border. There seemed to be an unspoken rule about the southern border. Nobody ever talked about it. It was as if people were afraid to even talk about it. Ango did not know of anyone who had gone past it. He had wondered about it for quite some time now. He was very curious about just everything, and the southern border was no exception. He had to find out why it was such a big mystery before he turns 10 years old next week. Having your age number in the double digits is a big deal and requires more knowledge, Ango thought. One day, as he and Ngunia were walking home after a long day spent fishing, he asked his brother, "Ngunia," he said hesitantly. "Yes," Ngunia replied. "Have you ever been all over the land? The whole land?" "Yes, I have," Ngunia replied with a proud smile on his face. "Even past the southern border?" Ango almost whispered, as if he was afraid someone might hear him. Ngunia immediately stopped walking and turned toward Ango. "Why are you asking me that?" "I'm just curious, that's all," Ango said. "Nobody has gone past the southern border. It is the Bakongo's land," Ngunia replied. "But why can't we go just visit?" Ango asked. "Visit?" Ngunia looked seriously at his younger brother and continued, "We do not visit the Bakongos." "Why?" Ango replied, as he followed his brother who had resumed their walk. "They do not like us, that's why," Ngunia replied. Ango was shocked. Why would the Bakongos not like them? After all, the Batekes were nothing but a delightsome people. Why would anyone not like them? "How do we know they don't like us?" he insisted. "We just know," Ngunia said. "But how can we be so sure that—" he started, but Ngunia stopped him swiftly. "We just know. That's all you need to know. Stop asking all those foolish questions and let's hurry home. Mother said we must be home before the last hen has gone back to the coop." Ango obeyed, but was determined to get to the bottom of it. He had to find out why the Bakongos did not like them. That night, he crafted a plan to go up the hill and ask them himself. The next morning, Ango rose very early, before sunrise and before the rooster's call. He grabbed his little sack filled with some must-have items, his favorite river stones, a piece of dried fish and yam, a handful of raw peanuts for a snack, and some water. He said a little prayer to his ancestors for protection, just like his mother and father had taught him. He knew they would protect him and would keep him company, which reassured him. That's why he was never scared. He then headed up to the southern border. On he went, past a small pond behind his house, where the ducks were still clustered together to stay warm. He then made it over the lemongrass field that his aunt had planted to keep the mosquitoes at bay, and off he went, into the lush grassland, across the village border. He sang along the way, greeting some erring rodents, snakes, and other critters as he carried his happy stroll. He knew he was in their way, so he thought that perhaps if he was nice to them, they would understand. Ango marched that way for quite a while, until the sun almost no longer cast his shadow on the ground. The southern border was a lot farther than he had first thought, and he was getting a little weary. Hopefully, just when he was about to take his last bite of peanuts, he came across a large mound of dirt. He quickly swallowed his food and hastily hiked to the top of the mound. Once on top, he suddenly stopped, astounded by what he saw. A few yards from where he was standing, right at a stone's throw distance, stood a little girl, probably around his age. She looked just as surprised as he was. His sudden appearance had startled her. He paused for a moment, but then regained his confidence. "Who are you?" he said with a firm voice. "I'm Nimi," the girl replied. Ango thought for a minute. Nimi. He had never heard a name like that before. He figured she must have come from a different kingdom. He looked at her. Her clothes looked different too. She had a lot more covering on her torso, and she had a long mulele wrapped around her hips. Poor girl, Ango thought. She must not know fashion very much. Girls in his kingdom were adorned much more elaborately, he thought. "Are you from around here?" Ango asked. "Yes, I'm from the kingdom south of these hills, the Congo kingdom," Nimi replied. Ango's face lit up with excitement. "What about you?" Nimi continued. "Are you the Bateke kingdom?" she asked hesitantly. "Yes, and my name is Ango, son of Gamboma," he said proudly, pumping his chest. Nimi smiled. She was amused that this little skinny boy tried to look so dignified. Ango saw her smile and didn't know what to make of it. Was this style-deprived girl making fun of him? He decided to ignore it and go straight to the point. So he cleared his throat and asked, "I have come a long way to ask why it is that you Bakongos don't like us Batekes." Nimi could not believe it. It was them, the Batekes, that did not like her people. Or so she had been told. If you guessed the country where this story is taking place, please drop a comment in the comment section below and make sure to subscribe. Stay tuned for part 2.